Hey, this is Gene. I just want to talk a little bit about United. Um, Before I get into it, I just want to say something. I don't think anybody can actually claim that the players are not playing or trying for the club. Uh, we have a lot of lack of. I'm not gonna say talent. We're just not that good, talent wise, I guess. But those guys are trying so hard to do shit. I don't know what's going on with their brain, but they can't make the passes, and I'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. Going into that game yesterday, I thought it would be a difficult game for us, but I was really shocked how bad Fulham was in that game. They gave us way too much respect. They didn't really press us that much. They really didn't do anything the entire half. We gave up a goal on a set play. That's a problem in our team. Um, I don't know if it was something they set up and grew up on the sidelines or whatever. I mean, it worked for them. They didn't really do anything the entire half. We had one or two decent chances in the first half. The second half, I think we outplayed them. Yes, they had more possessions of the ball. We kind of like reverted back to how we were under other coaches. I guess under Ten Hag, that we give some of the possession away, and then we try to give on the counterattack. Not having all the speed that we actually need kind of hurt us. Although Garnacho came in and played okay, Xerxes played okay. As good as Xerxes can play, he's also very frustrating. He's very similar to Garnacho in his own way. He gets past, he gets by guys, and then he wants to take one more step instead of passing the ball. So he's very frustrating in that way. I hope that he can speed up his game and make decisions a little bit quicker. I think he could be very very valuable to our team because he's so big and strong. He can hold on to the ball, but he makes some bad decisions. Him and Hoyland have the same issue where they like to flick it with the back of their feet or some shit, and it gives away to the other players, other team, and it's very very frustrating. And I just don't understand how Rasmus can be that way right now because his form is poor. Um, and like I said, after Garnacho came on, I think we were the only team that looked like they were going to score in the entire game. And then when Obi came on, it kind of helped us a little bit more. Makes you wonder why Hoyland's not making those same type of runs. Um, I think there was Stephen Housen said it today. It's almost like somebody told Rasmus that he has to go engage the center backs physically instead of just doing his job. And he's worried about running into them instead of trying to get into spaces to get the ball and then do something with it. Whereas Oben Cheeto seemed to get in areas that he's a little better. And he clearly could have won that game. We could have scored twice in regular time. He had a really good chance at the end. Uh, Delic was up there and he chested it down to him. He was in a position. He just didn't get over the keeper on the right angle. He had another chance a little bit before that where he hit the ball across the face of the goal. We were the only team that looked like they were going to score, and it almost like it was looking that Fulham was just trying to take a draw when you knew it wasn't supposed to be that way. We're going to go in extra time. And I thought even in extra time, I think that we're the only team that looked like they were going to score. Although I think we got a little bit tired, and I think that what really hurt us in this game was having to empty the tank down to 10 men in their last Premiership game at home. Um, I think that really cost us to uh, substitute Ugarte early, Yoro early, Maguire early. I think that really hurt us in a game that we shouldn't be in a position against a poor team. Um, that we had to get 3 goals, one with 10 men. I think that as great that fight back was and the gritting and all that stuff, I think it really hurt us against Fulham. But there was no point in that game that Fulham was the better team. They might have held on to the ball a little bit better. And there are many times in the past that we were like that way. We'd have 60% of the ball and we wouldn't do anything with it. And that's what they were doing. They're going from side to side. Every now and then they might look like they were going to do something. It's just they were never a threat. And after their set piece goal, I think Onana had two decent saves. The one near the end of the game um, that he had to go get. But that was about it. They didn't really deserve to win the tie. We didn't do enough to win the game. All it does is set up what we're going to do in the future with Cheeto if he's going to maybe play. I don't think he's going to play in the Europa League on Thursday, but he might start against Arsenal. Is it Arsenal we have next? Um, but the real reason I want to talk about this is because I'm getting very, very upset with the fan channels out there. And for years, I've been saying that we're not as bad as Arsenal fan channels and stuff. But good Lord, we are now. We are just over the top all the damn time. Yes, it's like we all understand what the problem is with the team right now, and we all understand what the real reason behind that is. Um, and now we're going to talk about the Glazers and Ineos, and we're going to combine the game to make it Klenios and say that's the problem with the team. Okay, all that stuff is true to a point when it comes to Ineos, and it's we're dealing with it now in the United States, and we got to realize we have $40 trillion in debt and over $100 trillion in unsecured debt, um, and we have to at some point we have to address that and get rid of it because whenever we talk about us, we're losing a game that we should win or not. And then I hear these guys talking about these 450 people lost their jobs at Manchester United, and that's the reason why this is what's going on, because the Glazers and all. Okay, fair enough. It has really nothing to do with those players on the pitch, and they're doing everything they can do within their talent pool, I guess, to do better. I really think that nobody can make the statement that those players out there are not trying. Okay, we just we you just can't get rid of, even though he's not playing, when you get rid of Anthony and Rashford, and you don't think that those players could not be somewhat useful in that game yesterday, especially late in the game when it was clearly that Aston Villa, that Fulham could not do anything about us once we speed up the game. They couldn't do anything about it. So I saw a decent amount of progress in certain things yesterday. I thought Delic was just immense, and it's unfortunate for him because I think with that chest down to Hobie, if he puts it in there, I think it would have been one of the greatest fullback, center back um, displays we've seen forever. I think he was great the entire game, and nobody played really poorly other than Hoyland, but Hoyland still is not get. He had one shot. My issues with him is that when he got the ball, he did, like I said, he did some of these almost like these tricks instead of just turning and running or whatever. Um, like I said, my issue with this is the fan channels, and yet I understand they have to have content, but everywhere I go on TikTok, there's people yelling at the fucking screens because we suck right now, and then they want to blame the same fucking people. And okay, all that are you going to strike if you have these 2 million people on your channel, and I'm talking about you, the United Stand. Well, then use that power to do something about it. Same thing with Sam Peoples. Although I like him, I think he's very uh, level-headed. Um, you guys, if you have this outreach, let's do something about it. If you want to go in there and not show up again, I don't think we play Arsenal. I'm not sure. I think it's starting to we play on Wednesday or Sunday. Um, then fine, let's do something about it. Or how about we come up with an idea? Let's get a program together. Let's talk to 1958 and all these different fan groups and say, is there a way that we as fans can get part of the team? And I guess by doing this, we're going to end up bailing out the Glazers. But if we can craft a way that we can help the team bring down that debt, so we don't have to worry about this, that we don't have to worry that if we don't get it Europe next week or this year, that next year it's going to mean that we're going to be in a catastrophic position. Because that's what Mark Goldberg says. If we don't go in Europe next year, that I don't know what that means. Does that mean we're going to go in foreclosure or something? I mean, it's possible. I don't know exactly what the books say. I know it's not good, but we have the biggest or one of the two biggest fan supporters in the world. Is there something we can craft together that will get us out of our debt. And I know it'll end up helping the Glazers. I get it. But in that little thing, it'll be like, we'll do all this shit. We get part of the team, and that you have to sell this team with 5 years. You have to do it. And then when they actually sell the club, it will be a 50.1 that the owners will be the actual supporters instead of what it is right now. Um, Everybody understands what the problem is on the field, and everybody understands it's bad for the players that are the people that got staff. Everybody understands this, but to continually yell about it, and that's not going to change anything. Give us some sort of constructive criticism to fix it if you can. Here, that's my son, I think. I just, I'm 59. I'm going to be 60 in a couple of weeks, and a lot of these guys in their 40s, and they run around, and I know that's different. They're somewhat Generation X, maybe some of them, but they're at the point now that they're just, I don't even know. The younger guys are even worse. They're like fucking women, and I swear to God, there's a reason why you lose the game. All right, there's nothing wrong that Amarin did yesterday. It's crazy he took off Ugarte and then he brings in Lindelof, but it's clear that Ugarte was at that point after all he did the other day, and he only has probably the way he plays, he can't go 120 minutes unless it's the final of the Europa League or something like that. Then he might. Same thing with Maguire. He does everything he could fucking do, and then we can't. If we leave him out there another 20 or 30 minutes, guess what happens? They pull a hamstring, and guess what? We may get relegated. 33 points might be enough, but you never know if the Wolves go on a run and win 5 in a row. You can't, and we have a lot of very difficult games coming up. So we'll see. But I just get a little bit annoyed at. I always think they were a little bit above some of this other stuff, but we're not. The fact that we're also the biggest fan-supported teams out there, and it just means that there's nobody that is. I mean, there's a couple, for the most part, like Sam Peoples, Stephen Housen. They're pretty up there, but I get I get their frustration. They're in England, they're in Manchester, or very close to that, and they have to deal with it every day. And they grew up just teams that were just dominant. We haven't seen that in about 12, 15 years. Even those teams in 2011 and 2013 weren't dominant as some of the teams we had in 2008, 9, 2007, 99. Those teams were good, but they were not dominant. Those teams were. They were so deep in 2008. I mean, we just had players everywhere. Now we have nobody except one or two decent players. But this is going to take a while, and we just get through the shaft and all that shit that's going on. And before I go, I did want to talk about Zerkzee. I think there's a player there. Again, he needs to just be a bit quicker with his decision making. But we got to stop looking the media and then reporting it on these fan channels and just going around and have their heads blown off. 95% of the things that comes on the media when it comes to Manchester United are just there for clicks. They don't necessarily mean anything. We can't go down the rabbit hole saying we're going to go after this guy, and we never get those players. And then they sit there and say, well, these guys, they don't understand. We all know what the problem is, and we should be able to do this. And Beth was saying that, well, we should have got him for a lot cheaper, or we should have did. It's important to have fan channels, and it's, we go back to when you're pulp culture and you're talking about your team, but these fan channels get so in depth, and they think that they really understand how to rate a player on speed or intelligence or mentality. You can all have opinions, but everybody wanted these players that we got in. There might have been a hesitancy out of a few of them that we got, but everybody wanted Rasmus, everybody wanted Mount to a point. Everybody wanted Onana. Everybody wanted Zerkzee. Everybody wanted all these players. And when they don't go down to what we want, they're like, well, they should have figured this out. They should know more about it than we do, and we understand what the problem is. But yeah, you're like a fantasy booker or a video game somewhere and said, I'm going to get Messi, I'm going to get them, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get this, and that's how you're going to have your team and be the best in the world. That's not how it works in real life. You never know till the players show up, and then You can get mad at these players, but they've had how many coaches in the last 6 years? And maybe it's the player's fault, but we're making a fool of ourselves, and every team goes through this. Liverpool went through it. We don't have any divine right to be in the top three every year, so we just have to do something about it. And as fans and these fan channels that have huge amount of following, Mark Bulgerbridge, in his real name, makes $1 million a year at least at what he does. He can clearly do something about this. He can have a thing together, talk to lawyers about how we do all this stuff, and see if there's a way that we can help the team out, and then make some sort of provisions. And that's it. Part of that's going to be us owning the team as well, and then eventually in the future, enforce that the Glazers leave. I don't think it's always any else's fault. They're the ones that came in there and they had to fix the problem. And be like, well, they did look at our books to see what was wrong. Of course they looked at the books. That's why he only paid 1.5, whatever it was for it. He knew that there was issues here. And they went and they spent over $200 million. It's like they went and bought players for Ten Hag, and some of those players might be able to stay around with Amarin, but they did support that. And now the issue is now, the only reason they bought this team so they can have all the shit that's going to happen around the new stadium. Well, maybe there's something to that, but they're fucking businessmen. This is not going to solve anything. Come up with a plan. You clearly must know people out there that might look at this and say, this is what we can do. Or get, like I said, 1958 together and all the other fan groups and stuff and get together, put down your fucking differences about how you got to your famous bullshit, and talk about how to help the fucking team. If your decision is to walk out against Arsenal, then fucking do it. Get up there and yelling in the fucking camera every day saying it's the Glazers or it's Ineos or something like that. Sure, we all fucking know that part of that's the truth, but we have to find out a way to make something better and go forward for Manchester United. Anyway, I'm done with my getting off my soapbox. And I'll talk to you guys later. Tell me what you think in the comments. Please like and share if you like, and subscribe if you want to. You guys have a good day, and we'll talk to you later.